Look around today, and you'll find it nearly impossible to escape Apple's reach. They are a multi-trillion-dollar empire, and we live our daily lives surrounded by their glowing glass screens. But rewind to California in 1976, and the picture looks entirely different. Two young guys, a cramped workspace, a pile of electronic parts, and almost zero funding. They had a specific idea. Computers at the time were massive, complicated machines meant for universities and large corporations. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak wanted to scale that technology down into something ordinary people could actually put on a desk at home. Their first product, the Apple I, was essentially a build-it-yourself circuit board. Building a consumer-friendly machine got them off the ground, but selling isolated pieces of hardware unit by unit doesn't create the kind of global dominance we see today. Apple abandoned the sale of isolated machines to build an invisible digital ecosystem. This shift reveals how modern technology monopolies capture and monetize our attention. In those early days, the division of labor was clear. Steve Wozniak was the engineering force who loved designing the circuits and solving technical puzzles. Jobs was the visionary who understood human behavior. He saw how that technology could be packaged so people would actually want to buy it. That vision peaked early with the introduction of the Macintosh in 1984. Instead of forcing users to type complicated lines of code, Apple gave them a mouse and a graphical interface. Operating a computer finally felt intuitive. As the company grew into the 1990s, after Jobs was forced out, that clear vision fractured. Apple started producing way too many models and chasing too many different directions. The product lineup became deeply confusing, and consumers defected to computers running Microsoft's rapidly spreading operating system. When Steve Jobs returned to a struggling Apple in 1997, he immediately looked at that sprawling, bloated catalog and started cutting. He killed dozens of projects to enforce a strict corporate focus, making just a few things exceptionally well. The proof that this strategy worked arrived a year later with the iMac. It was colorful, simple, visually distinct, and incredibly easy to set up. It made the brand exciting again without relying on raw computing power. Stripping away all those confusing options was a highly calculated business maneuver. By removing friction, Apple focused the consumer's relationship squarely on the brand itself. That newfound focus set the stage for 2001, when Apple introduced the iPod. This small device moved Apple from a niche computer manufacturer into a mainstream consumer technology brand. Apple integrated the device directly with its iTunes software, building a frictionless pipeline for millions of people to buy, organize, and listen to digital music in one place. 6 years later, they applied that exact same logic to the phone. The 2007 iPhone launch compressed multiple tools into one, merging a music player, an internet browser, and a communication device into a single, natural touchscreen interface. By introducing the App Store, Apple invited third-party developers to build their own software directly on top of the iPhone's foundation. As developers populated it, the phone became a continuously evolving digital environment where users spend the vast majority of their day. When a product successfully becomes a platform, the entire business model shifts. A company stops selling people a tool and starts renting out the space where they live their digital lives. Steve Jobs stepped down in 2011 due to health issues and passed away shortly after. Under the new CEO, Tim Cook, the strategy evolved to focus heavily on operational scale and digital services. Cook brought a distinctly different leadership style. While Jobs was the product visionary, Cook's background was in maximizing efficiency and managing complex global supply chains. Under Cook's direction, Apple expanded its hardware footprint into wearables. Products like the Apple Watch were designed specifically to tether to the central iPhone, extending the network directly onto the user's wrist. Accessories like AirPods followed the exact same playbook. Instant pairing removes friction from the user's routine, while simultaneously binding them even tighter to Apple's proprietary network. This chart illustrates exactly how the ecosystem creates a massive, self-sustaining loop. You start with a single hardware purchase. That device syncs your personal data across the cloud, which then demands subscriptions and apps, ultimately creating a unified digital identity locked into their servers. Every new device or service you add to this cycle makes it increasingly painful and expensive to leave. Switching to a competitor means losing access to your shared photos, your paid apps, and your synced accessories. Apple started by building simple circuit boards in a garage, but their journey proves that the most valuable empires on the planet aren't built by creating the best single invention. They are built by designing an environment so seamlessly interconnected that the world simply refuses to leave.